The $6,000 Louboutin heel connected with Melody's ribs, so hard she felt something crack. Her heavily pregnant body slammed into the gold Christmas tree display, ornaments exploding around her like fragile stars. She hit the marble floor, hard, her crimson silk maternity dress tearing at the shoulder, blood already pooling beneath her from a gash on her arm. The entire Manhattan luxury mall seemed to inhale and hold its breath. Melody looked up through the blur of pain, one hand instinctively cradling her swollen belly, at the man standing over her with his designer shoe still raised. Roacher Dargan, her ex-fiancé, the man who'd stolen her savings and left her homeless 4 years ago, the man whose child she'd lost alone in a freezing studio apartment while he partied on her money. "Stay down where you belong, you clumsy brat," Roacher spat, his face twisted with the same contempt she remembered. Pathetic. He had no idea who she was anymore, no idea that the broken girl he'd abandoned, the one who'd cried herself to sleep on subway benches with $17 to her name, the one who'd lost their baby from starvation and despair, had risen from those ashes. No idea about the flawless diamond wedding ring hidden beneath her red silk glove, the penthouse overlooking Central Park she'd left that morning, or the Black American Express card in her Hermes bag that had no spending limit. And Roacher definitely had no idea about the man whose last name was now legally hers. The man whose security team was currently moving through the crowd like shadows. The man whose phone was vibrating in her purse right now. Kang Dong-ho, her husband, Manhattan's most dangerous underground king, as Melody's trembling fingers accepted the call, and Dong-ho's deadly calm voice asked, "Are you hurt, baby?" She watched the color drain from Roacher's face. He'd just kicked the wrong pregnant woman. And in approximately 6 minutes, when Dong-ho's motorcade pulled into this mall's underground garage, Roacher Dargan was going to learn a lesson about consequences that would erase his entire existence. But he didn't know it yet. Right now, in this moment, standing over her bleeding body with that sick smile on his face, he still thought she was nothing. That was about to change. Before we dive deeper into this story of love, divine justice, and redemption, I want to send blessings your way this holiday season. May God's grace cover you and your loved ones with peace, protection, and joy. I'm curious, where in the world are you watching this from? Drop your city or country in the comments. I love seeing our global family come together. Now, do me a favor real quick. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Your support keeps this channel alive, and I'm grateful for every single one of you. Alright, let's get into this dramatic journey. 8 hours earlier, Melody stood in their massive walk-in closet, her fingers trailing over the crimson silk maternity dress, hanging like a jewel among rows of designer clothes. Despite the luxury surrounding her, Chanel, Valentino, Givenchy lined up like soldiers of wealth. She still gravitated toward pieces that didn't scream for attention. Old habits from harder times. "You're doing it again," Dong-ho said from the doorway. She turned to find him already dressed in a charcoal 3-piece suit that fit him like a second skin, every line tailored to perfection. His dark hair was slicked back, his presence commanding even in the intimacy of their bedroom. He was devastatingly handsome, and even after 2 years of marriage, the sight of him still made her heart skip. "Doing what?" She smiled, reaching for pearl earrings. "Choosing the simplest things in your closet." He crossed to her, his hands sliding around her waist, careful of her rounded belly. "You're married to one of the wealthiest men in Manhattan. Stop shopping in your closet like you're on a budget." She laughed, the sound light and genuine. "I like simple things. I like spoiling you." He kissed her neck, his breath warm against her skin. "Humor me. You humor me by loving me exactly as I am." She turned in his arms, looking up at him. His expression softened in that way it only did for her. Always. Then his face shifted, becoming more serious. "You're going to the Fifth Avenue Mall today? Just some Christmas shopping for the nursery." "I won't be long." Something flickered in his dark eyes. Dong-ho was protective to the point of obsession, a fact she both loved and occasionally found overwhelming. "Take Jin-woo and Taeyang with you. Baby, I don't need bodyguards to go shopping." His jaw tightened, and suddenly she wasn't looking at her husband anymore. She was looking at Kang Dong-ho, the man who controlled half of Manhattan's underground. "Melody, you know what I am. You know the enemies that creates, and you're carrying my child." His hand pressed gently against her belly. "You don't leave this house without security. Non-negotiable." The steel in his voice was absolute. She cupped his face, feeling the tension in his jaw. "Okay, I'll take them." The rigid line of his shoulders relaxed. "Thank you." He checked his watch. Solid platinum. Understated, but worth more than most people's cars. I have a meeting in Brooklyn. I'll be home by 7. We have dinner reservations at 8. Where? That dangerous smile returned. It's a surprise. He leaned down, his lips brushing her ear. Wear this red dress, the one I can't stop thinking about removing. Heat flooded her cheeks even as she smiled. You're insatiable. Only for you. He kissed her then, deep and thorough. One hand tangled in her hair, the other cradling their unborn child. When he finally pulled back, she was breathless. I love you, he whispered against her lips. I love you too. 3 hours later, Melody walked through the Fifth Avenue luxury mall, with Jinwoo and Taeyang maintaining their usual discreet distance, close enough to protect, far enough to give her space. The mall was a cathedral of American wealth. White marble floors reflected massive crystal chandeliers. Every storefront was a monument to excess. Tiffany's, Cartier, Louis Vuitton, their windows dressed in gold and silver Christmas elegance. She'd just exited a boutique, bags of tiny designer baby clothes in her hands, when she saw him, Roacher Dargan, her ex-fiancé, the man who'd left her homeless and pregnant 4 years ago, the man who'd stolen her $30,000 in savings and disappeared, the father of the baby she'd lost from stress and malnutrition 3 weeks after he abandoned her. He was leaning against a Prada display, laughing with a woman dripping in diamonds and designer labels. He looked exactly the same. Same arrogant smile, same expensive taste funded by other people's money, same entitled swagger that made her stomach turn. Melody's hands trembled. The shopping bags nearly slipped from her grip. 4 years. She'd thought she was healed, thought she'd moved past this, but seeing him brought everything back. The pain, the betrayal, the nights she'd cried herself to sleep in her car, the morning she'd woken in a pool of blood, losing their baby completely alone. She should walk away, turn around, leave, but her feet were rooted to the marble floor. Roacher looked up. Their eyes met. For a moment, nothing. Then recognition flashed across his face, followed by shock, then something uglier. Disgust. He whispered something to the woman beside him, then started walking toward Melody. Every instinct screamed at her to run, but she was frozen, one hand protectively over her pregnant belly. Well, Roacher's voice was exactly as she remembered. Smooth, condescending, cruel. Melody tune. Didn't expect to see you here. His eyes traveled deliberately over her body, lingering on her pregnancy with revulsion. Thought you'd be at a thrift store where you belong. Or did you finally find some desperate fool to pay your bills? She found her voice, though it shook. Roacher, I have nothing to say to you. What's wrong? Still bitter? He looked her up and down again, his expression mocking. I see you've trapped another man with a pregnancy. That's always been your talent, hasn't it? Playing victim until some idiot takes pity on you and gets stuck with your baggage. The words hit like physical blows. Jinwoo and Taeyang were already moving closer, reading the threat in Roacher's body language. You left me with nothing, Melody said quietly, hating how her voice trembled. You stole everything from me. Roacher laughed, loud enough to draw the attention of nearby shoppers. Stole? Baby, I liberated myself from a parasite. Best decision I ever made. You were always so needy, so pathetic, expecting me to take care of you like you couldn't handle your own life. I was pregnant with your child. Was I supposed to care? His eyes went cold. I told you from the beginning I didn't want kids. You probably got pregnant on purpose, trying to trap me. Thank God I got out when I did. Melody's vision blurred with tears. She refused to let fall. The woman Roacher had been with approached, linking her arm through his possessively, her diamond engagement ring catching the light. Is this her? The woman asked, looking Melody up and down with barely concealed disgust. The ex you told me about? The one who stalked you after you broke up? Stalked? Melody's voice rose, her heart pounding. I never. Don't make a scene. Roacher cut her off, his tone dripping with condescension. You're embarrassing yourself, as usual. He turned to leave, dismissing her completely like she was garbage on the street. Something in Melody snapped. 4 years of pain, of rebuilding herself from nothing, of nights wondering why she hadn't been enough, of losing a child while he lived in luxury on her stolen money. You took everything from me, she said, her voice stronger now. Roacher turned back, irritation crossing his face. What did you just say? I said you took everything from me. My money, my future, my baby. He stepped closer, invading her space. You lost that baby because you were weak, just like you've always been weak. A burden. I did you a favor by leaving. Jinwoo moved forward, but Melody held up her hand. She needed this, needed to face him. I'm not that girl anymore, she said. Roacher laughed, cruel and sharp. Please. Look at you, pregnant again by some fool. You're exactly the same pathetic. He shoved her. Hard. Melody stumbled backward, her pregnant belly making her off balance. She reached out for something, anything, but there was nothing. She was falling. Her back hit the display stand, and then the kick came fast. His $6,000 Louboutin connecting with her ribs with brutal force, and that's when everything changed. The cold marble pressed against Melody's cheek, a sharp contrast to the warm blood trickling down her forearm. Her breath came in shallow gasps, each inhale sending lightning bolts of pain through her ribs. The baby. God, please let the baby be okay. Her hand trembled as it found her swollen belly, searching desperately for movement, for any sign of life beneath her crimson dress now stained darker with blood. Above her, Roacher was still talking, his voice distant through the ringing in her ears. Clumsy as always. Can't even stand up straight anymore with that belly. The vibration in her purse cut through everything else. She knew that pattern. 3 short pulses, Dongho's emergency signal. Her fingers fumbled with the clasp, vision blurring as she pulled out the phone. His name lit up the screen like salvation. She accepted the call, pressed it to her ear, couldn't form words. Melody. His voice was deadly calm, the kind of quiet that preceded storms. Tell me you're okay. Dongho. Her voice cracked, broke completely. Where are you hurt? Still calm. Too calm. She knew this tone, had heard it once before when a rival family sent a threat to their home. It was the sound of a man already calculating violence. The baby, she gasped, another wave of pain stealing her breath. He kicked me. He kicked the baby. The silence on the other end wasn't empty. It was full of something dark and terrible, something that made the air feel thinner. Jinwoo, Dongho said, his voice carrying that razor edge of absolute authority. Is she bleeding? She heard Jinwoo's response close by, hadn't even noticed him kneeling beside her. Yes, sir. Right arm. Significant. She's protecting her abdomen. Get the medics from the car. Now. A pause, then softer, meant only for her. Baby, stay on the line with me. Help is 30 seconds away. I'm scared, she whispered, tears finally breaking free. I know. I'm coming. 6 minutes. Another pause. Who touched you? She looked up at Roacher, who'd finally noticed the phones, the way Jinwoo and Taeyang had shifted positions, no longer discreet but openly flanking him like wolves cornering prey. My ex, she managed. Roacher Dargan. The silence stretched for 3 heartbeats. Kong, Jinwoo said quietly into his own phone, his Korean sharp and quick. The exits? Lock them all. Dongho's voice carried through Melody's phone, loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. Every door, every emergency exit, every service entrance. No one leaves, especially not him. Roacher's eyes went wide. Who the hell do you think you are? You can't, sir. Taeyang stepped forward, his hand visible inside his jacket now. I'd advise you to stop talking. The crowd that had gathered was pulling back, phones out, recording everything. But Melody barely noticed them. All she could focus on was the warmth spreading across her dress, the cramping in her lower abdomen, the terror that she was losing another baby. Dongho, there's blood. I see it. His voice shifted, and she realized he was watching. Somewhere in this mall, he had access to the security feeds. The medics are coming through the north entrance. Melody, listen to me. You're going to be okay. Our baby is going to be okay. Do you trust me? Yes. Then stay with me. Keep talking. Tell me about the nursery colors you picked. She knew what he was doing, keeping her conscious, keeping her focused on something other than the pain. Soft gray, she whispered, with white furniture. And that mobile you hated, the one with the little elephants. I don't hate it. She could hear movement on his end now, doors slamming, an engine roaring to life. I just think our son deserves something more dignified than dancing elephants. We don't know it's a boy. I know. The certainty in his voice made her smile despite everything. He has your stubbornness already. Keeps kicking me when I put my hand on your belly. The medics arrived. A team of 3 in civilian clothes. their equipment bags stamped with Korean characters. They moved with military precision, one checking her vitals while another carefully examined her abdomen. "Sir," the lead medic spoke into his earpiece. "Patient is stable but needs immediate ultrasound. Possible placental abruption. We need to transport." "Do it." Dongho's voice was granite. "Melody, they're going to take care of you. I'm 4 minutes out." "Okay. And Melody?" That dangerous edge returned. "Close your eyes. Don't look at him. He doesn't deserve to see your fear." She understood, closed her eyes as the medics lifted her onto a stretcher. The last thing she heard before they carried her away was Dongho's voice, no longer speaking to her. "Jin-woo, take Mr. Dargan to the security office. If he resists, break something small. I want him conscious when I arrive." Through her closed lids, she heard Roacher's protest turn into a grunt of pain, the sound of expensive shoes scuffling against marble, then silence as the distance grew. The medics moved her quickly through the mall, past the frozen shoppers, past the luxury stores with their glittering windows. One of them held an IV bag above her head, while another kept pressure on her arm. She wanted to ask about the baby, wanted confirmation, but the words wouldn't come. "Mrs. Kong," the female medic said softly, her accent thick, but her English clear. "Baby's heartbeat is strong. We hear it. You hear?" She pressed something cold against Melody's belly, and there it was, fast and steady, like a drum in the distance. Alive. Their baby was alive. The sob that tore from her throat was relief and trauma mixed together. 4 years of pain colliding with this moment. She'd lost one child alone in the dark. But this one had her husband's protection, had an army of people surrounding her, had a father who would burn the world down before letting anything happen. "Dongho," she whispered into the phone, still clutched in her hand. "I heard it." His voice was rough, emotion finally cracking through. "Our baby's strong, like their mother. I need you. 2 minutes. I'm pulling into the garage now." The medics loaded her into a private ambulance, one that looked civilian on the outside but was equipped like a mobile surgical unit inside. As the doors closed, she caught a glimpse of the mall's main entrance. Every exit was blocked by men in black suits. Not mall security, Dongho's people. And somewhere inside that glittering cathedral of wealth, her husband was about to teach Roacher Dargan what it meant to touch something that belonged to Kong Dongho. She almost felt sorry for him. Almost. The ambulance didn't move. Melody realized they were waiting, engine idling in the underground garage, the medics checking her vitals every 30 seconds but making no move to transport her to a hospital. Through the tinted windows, she watched the concrete pillars cast long shadows under flickering fluorescent lights. Then she heard it, the sound that made her heart both calm and race, the synchronized rumble of multiple engines, the screech of tires taking corners too fast, the rhythmic precision of a motorcade that didn't care about traffic laws. 4 black SUVs poured into the garage like predators, surrounding the ambulance in a protective formation. The lead vehicle's door opened before it fully stopped, and Dongho stepped out. He wore the same charcoal suit from this morning, but his tie was gone, collar open, hair disheveled like he'd been running his hands through it. His face was a mask of controlled fury, jaw tight, eyes scanning the ambulance with an intensity that made the air feel electric. The ambulance door opened, and he was there, climbing inside, his presence filling the small space. The medics immediately gave him room, stepping back as he knelt beside her stretcher. "Let me see." His hands were gentle as they framed her face, thumbs brushing away tears she hadn't realized were still falling. His eyes tracked over her, the torn dress, the bandaged arm, the blood staining the crimson silk darker. Something lethal flickered across his expression. "The baby?" he asked the medic without looking away from Melody. "Heartbeat strong, no signs of distress, but we recommend full ultrasound at the hospital to rule out placental issues." Dongho nodded once, then returned his full attention to her. "Where did he hit you?" "Ribs." She touched the spot, wincing. "And he shoved me first. I fell into the display, his jaw clenched so hard she heard his teeth grind." "Anywhere else?" She shook her head, then remembered. "He kicked me, Dongho, while I was on the ground. He aimed for my stomach." The temperature in the ambulance seemed to drop 10 degrees. Dongho's hands tightened on the stretcher's rails, knuckles white. When he spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper, but every word carried the weight of a death sentence. "He kicked my pregnant wife. He tried to kill my child." It wasn't a question. It was a statement of fact, each word another nail in Roacher's coffin. "Dongho." She caught his hand, brought it to her belly where their baby was moving now, strong kicks against his palm. We're okay. We're both okay. He stared at where their hands joined, watching the movement beneath the silk. Some of the rage bled out of his expression, replaced by something vulnerable and raw. When Jean Wu called me, he said quietly. When he said you were on the ground bleeding, He stopped, swallowed hard. I've done terrible things, Melody. I've hurt people, destroyed lives, but in that moment, I understood what it means to feel powerless, 4 miles away, and I couldn't protect you. You're here now. I should have been there. His other hand came up to cup her face, thumb tracing her cheekbone. I should have been standing next to you. Baby, you can't be everywhere. I can when it comes to you. The intensity in his eyes made her breath catch. You and this baby are the only things in this world that matter. Everything else, the business, the territory, the power, none of it means anything if I lose you. She'd never heard him this raw, this exposed. Kong Dongho, the man who controlled Manhattan's underground with an iron fist, was trembling as he held her face. You're not going to lose us, she promised. He leaned down, pressed his forehead to hers, eyes closed. He hurt you. He tried to hurt our child. Do you understand what that means? She did. Had always known what kind of man she'd married. Had seen glimpses of the darkness he kept carefully contained, the violence he wielded like a surgeon's scalpel. But she'd never seen it unleashed. Not like this. What are you going to do? She whispered. His eyes opened, and they were black with purpose. I'm going to make sure he never hurts anyone again. But first. He straightened, his hand still on her belly. First, we're taking you to the hospital. Full examination. I need to know you're both completely safe. And then I'm going to have a conversation with Mr. Dargan about the cost of his choices. The way he said conversation made it clear no actual talking would be involved. Melody should have been disturbed. Should have told him to let the police handle it, to walk away, to be the bigger person. But as she lay there in her torn, bloodied dress, feeling the ache in her ribs and remembering the terror of thinking she might lose another baby, she couldn't find it in herself to be merciful. He stole $30,000 from me, she said quietly. 4 years ago. He left me homeless and pregnant, and I lost our baby because I couldn't afford food or prenatal care. I was sleeping in my car, Dongho. In January, I almost died. His hand stilled on her belly. What? She'd never told him the full story. Had given him pieces, the bad breakup, the stolen money, the miscarriage, but never the complete picture of just how bad it had been. I didn't want you to see me as damaged, she admitted. Didn't want you to know how low I'd fallen. Melody, let me finish. She needed to say this, needed him to understand. After he left, I had $200 in my checking account. Everything else was in our joint savings, and he cleaned it out the day he disappeared. My apartment was in his name, so I had no lease. I lived in my car for 3 weeks. I tried to get help, but I didn't qualify for assistance fast enough. I was eating 1 meal a day, trying to save money for the baby. Dongho's expression was carved from stone, but she saw the muscle jumping in his jaw. I started bleeding at a McDonald's, she continued, the memories flooding back with crystalline clarity. I drove myself to the ER, but by the time they saw me, it was too late. I was 12 weeks along. They told me it was malnutrition and stress. They told me if I'd had proper care, proper food, the baby probably would have survived. Melody. He killed our baby Dongho. Not directly, but he did. And today, he tried to do it again. She met his eyes, let him see the rage she'd buried for 4 years. So whatever you're planning, whatever conversation you're going to have with him, I won't stop you. I won't ask you to show mercy. Because he showed me none. Dongho stared at her for a long moment, something shifting in his expression. Then he leaned down and kissed her forehead, soft and reverent. I'm going to make this right, he promised against her skin. I'm going to give you justice for every single thing he took from you. I know. He straightened. All business now. Take her to Mount Sinai, he told the medics. Private wing. I want Dr. Reyes on standby. Full security detail on her floor. No one gets in without my approval. Yes, sir. He looked back at Melody. I'll meet you there in 2 hours, maybe 3. That's a long conversation. His smile was dark and promised violence. I'm going to take my time. He kissed her once more, deep and possessive, his hand cradling the back of her head. When he pulled away, The last traces of vulnerability were gone. He was Kong Dong-ho again, untouchable and dangerous. He climbed out of the ambulance, straightened his suit jacket, and turned to Jean Woo, who'd been waiting silently nearby. Is he secured? Security office. Level 3. Taeyang has him. Good. Dong-ho started walking toward the mall entrance, his men falling into formation around him. Send the footage to Marcus Kim. I want every news outlet in the city to have it by tonight. And call Judge Patterson. Tell him I need a restraining order filed within the hour. Already done, sir. The woman with him? The fiancée? Isabella Whitmore, heiress to Whitmore Pharmaceuticals. Dong-ho's smile was razor-sharp. Send her the footage, too. Make sure she sees exactly what kind of man she's planning to marry. As the ambulance doors closed and they pulled away, Melody caught one last glimpse of her husband. He stood in the garage like a king surveying his kingdom, surrounded by his soldiers, about to wage war for her honor, and God help her, she loved him for it. The security office on level 3 was designed for shoplifters and employee disputes. A cramped room with monitors showing various mall feeds, a desk covered in papers, 2 chairs bolted to the floor. It wasn't meant to hold someone like Roacher Dargan, but it was perfect for what Dong-ho had planned. Taeyang stood by the door, arms crossed, his expression blank. Roacher sat in one of the bolted chairs, wrists zip-tied behind him, his expensive suit jacket torn at the shoulder. His face was flushed with indignation, mouth running with threats about lawyers and assault charges, and how his father would destroy whoever was responsible for this. Dong-ho entered quietly, the door clicking shut behind him. The temperature in the small room seemed to drop. Roacher looked up, started to speak, then stopped. Whatever he saw in Dong-ho's face made the words die in his throat. Mr. Dargan. Dong-ho's voice was conversational, almost pleasant. He removed his suit jacket, hung it carefully on the back of the other chair, rolled up his sleeves with precise movements. Do you know who I am? Roacher's eyes tracked the movement, the way Dong-ho's forearms revealed expensive tattoos, Korean characters interwoven with geometric patterns that marked him as someone important in certain circles. Some psycho who thinks he can kidnap people. Dong-ho moved faster than Roacher could track. One moment he was across the room, the next his hand was wrapped around Roacher's throat, not squeezing, just holding. A promise. Let me rephrase. Dong-ho's face was inches from Roacher's now. Do you know whose wife you just assaulted? Understanding flickered across Roacher's expression, followed quickly by fear. That woman, Melody? She's my wife, yes. Dong-ho released him, stepped back. My heavily pregnant wife, who you shoved to the ground, who you kicked while she was bleeding, who you tried to kill along with my unborn child. I didn't. That was an accident. I didn't know she was pregnant. You didn't know? Dong-ho laughed, the sound devoid of humor. Her belly was visible from across the mall, Mr. Dargan. She was wearing a maternity dress. You knew exactly what you were doing. He pulled out his phone, tapped the screen a few times, then turned it to face Roacher. Security footage from multiple angles. Roacher shoving Melody, her falling, the kick, all of it in high definition. I've had this footage sent to every news outlet in Manhattan. Dong-ho said calmly. By tonight, your face will be plastered across every screen in the city. Man assaults pregnant woman in luxury mall. It has a nice ring to it, don't you think? Roacher's face went pale. You can't my job, my fiancé. Your fiancé. Dong-ho scrolled through his phone. Isabella Whitmore, correct? Heiress to a pharmaceutical fortune. I believe you're set to marry her next spring. Or you were. He made a call, put it on speaker. A woman's voice answered, cultured and sharp. Isabella Whitmore speaking. Miss Whitmore, this is Kong Dong-ho. I'm sending you a video. I think you should see it before you make any permanent decisions about your future. I'm sorry, who? The video sent. Silence for 30 seconds, then a sharp intake of breath. Oh my God. Is that Roacher? Is that Roacher kicking a pregnant woman? I'm afraid so. The woman is my wife. She's currently in the hospital, ensuring our baby survived his assault. I don't. Isabella's voice was shaking. He told me his ex was crazy, that she stalked him. He never said. He's lied about many things. Dong-ho said smoothly. I thought you should know the truth about the man you're planning to marry. My lawyers will be in touch. Have a good evening, Miss Whitmore. He ended the call before she could respond. Roacher was hyperventilating now, the reality of his situation finally sinking in. Please, I can fix this. I can apologize. Dong-ho's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, smiled. Ah, that would be your employer. Mr. Harrison from Wellington Financial, correct? Another call. This one Dong-ho didn't put on speaker, but Roacher could hear the yelling through the phone. When it ended, Dong-ho's smile widened. You're fired. Effective immediately. Something about moral character and company reputation. They're also launching an internal investigation into your expense accounts. Apparently, there are some irregularities. There aren't any. I haven't done anything. Haven't you? Dong-ho pulled up another screen. $30,000 stolen from Melody Tune 4 years ago. Never reported. Never paid back. That's theft, Mr. Dargan. Grand larceny. She can't prove. I have her bank statements. Her police report. Text messages from your phone bragging about the windfall. Would you like me to continue? Roacher's breathing was ragged now, sweat beading on his forehead. Dong-ho checked his phone again. Oh, and your father just called. He's disowning you. Removing you from the family trust. Something about not wanting to be associated with a man who assaults pregnant women. He was quite emphatic about it. No, that's not. He wouldn't. He did. Dong-ho showed him the email. Official letterhead from Dargan and Associates. You're cut off. No family money. No inheritance. Nothing. He watched Roacher process this. Watched the man's entire world collapse in real time. Job gone. Fiancé gone. Family gone. In less than 30 minutes, Dong-ho had systematically destroyed every foundation of Roacher's life. Your credit cards are frozen, Dong-ho continued, almost conversationally. Your lease is under review. Your membership at that club you love, revoked. I've made some calls, pulled a few strings. By the time you leave this room, you'll have nothing. No job, no money, no reputation. You'll be exactly where you left my wife 4 years ago. Roacher was crying now. Ugly sobs that made his whole body shake. Please, I'll apologize. I'll do anything. Anything? Dong-ho crouched down to eye level. Then tell me, Mr. Dargan. When you left Melody homeless and pregnant, when you stole her money and disappeared, when she lost your child because she couldn't afford food, did she beg you? Did she ask for mercy? Roacher couldn't meet his eyes. She did, Dong-ho answered for him. I've seen her journal entries from that time. She called you 37 times, left voicemails begging you to come back, not for her, but for the baby. And you laughed. You blocked her number and partied on her stolen money while she starved. He stood, looked down at the broken man in the chair. So no, Mr. Dargan, I don't think I'll show you mercy. I think I'll let you feel exactly what she felt. Powerless, abandoned, destroyed. Dong-ho pulled out his phone one more time. But I'm not completely heartless. I'll give you one chance. Tomorrow morning you're going to appear on Good Morning America. You're going to confess everything you did to Melody. The theft, the abandonment, the abuse. You're going to apologize publicly, on national television. And you're going to announce that you're donating every penny you have left to women's shelters. I don't have anything left. You have your car, your watch, your designer clothes. Sell them. Every single thing. Dong-ho's voice was steel. And if you refuse, I'll make sure the rest of your life is considerably more unpleasant than it already is. Do you understand? Roacher nodded, defeated. Good. Dong-ho signaled to Taeyang. Let him go. Make sure the paparazzi get some good shots as he leaves. He put his jacket back on, buttoned it carefully. At the door, he paused, looked back. One more thing, Mr. Dargan. If you ever come within 1,000 feet of my wife again, if you ever speak her name, if you even think about her, I won't be this merciful. I'll make you disappear. And no one will ever find the body. The promise hung in the air like smoke. Then Dong-ho walked out, leaving Roacher Dargan to face the cameras waiting outside. Mount Sinai's private wing was a world away from the public hospital where Melody had lost her first baby. No fluorescent lights or crowded waiting rooms, just soft lamps, cream walls, and silence broken only by the steady beep of monitors. She lay in a bed that felt more like a hotel than a hospital, an ultrasound wand moving across her belly for the 3rd time. Dr. Reyes, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and steady hands, studied the screen with focused attention. There, Dr. Reyes said, pointing. See that flutter? That's a strong heartbeat. 142 beats per minute. Perfect for 32 weeks. Melody released a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. And the placenta? No signs of abruption, no tearing. The baby is well positioned and showing no distress. Doctor, Reyes smiled. You were very lucky, Mrs. Kong. The impact could have been much worse. Lucky. Melody looked at her bandaged arm, felt the bruises forming on her ribs, and didn't feel lucky. She felt furious. Furious that she'd had to endure this. Furious that her baby had been put at risk. Furious that 4 years later, Roacher could still reach into her life and cause damage. How long do I need to stay? Overnight observation. If the baby continues to show no distress, you can go home tomorrow afternoon. Dr. Reyes made notes on her tablet. I want you on modified bed rest for the next week. No stress. Lots of fluids. And if you feel anything unusual, cramping, bleeding, decreased movement, you call immediately. I will. After Dr. Reyes left, Melody was alone with her thoughts and the rhythmic beep of her baby's heartbeat on the monitor. She placed her hand on her belly, felt the strong kicks against her palm. We're okay, she whispered to the life inside her. We're both okay. The door opened. She expected a nurse, but got Dong-ho instead. He looked different. His shirt was wrinkled, sleeves still rolled up, hair disheveled. There was something raw in his expression, something that made him look younger and more vulnerable than she'd ever seen. Hi, she said softly. He crossed to her in 3 strides, knelt beside the bed, buried his face against her belly. His shoulders shook, and she realized with shock that he was crying. Dong-ho, I thought I lost you. His voice was muffled against the hospital gown. When Jean Woo called, when he said you were bleeding, I thought, a shuddering breath, I've never been that afraid. Not once in my entire life. She ran her fingers through his hair, felt the tension in his muscles. We're okay, Dr. Reyes said. The baby's fine. Strong heartbeat, no complications. He lifted his head, and his eyes were red-rimmed, damp. Let me see. She showed him the ultrasound photo Dr. Reyes had left. Their baby in profile, tiny fist near the mouth, peaceful and perfect. Dong-ho took the photo with trembling hands, stared at it like it was the most precious thing in the world. I'm sorry, he whispered. For what? For not being there. For not protecting you. Baby, you couldn't have known. I should have insisted you stay home. Should have come with you. Should have. She cupped his face, made him look at her. Stop. This wasn't your fault. It was his. Only his. What he did to you 4 years ago, Dong-ho said quietly. The money. The baby. You should have told me. I was ashamed. Of what? Surviving? His thumb brushed her cheek. Melody, you lived in your car in January. You lost a baby alone. You rebuilt yourself from $17. There's no shame in that. There's only strength. I didn't feel strong. I felt broken. You are the strongest person I've ever met. He said it with such conviction that she almost believed it. And I swear to you, on everything I am, he will never hurt you again. What did you do? A dark smile crossed his face. I took everything from him. His job, his fiancée, his family, his reputation. By tomorrow morning, he'll be on national television apologizing to you and confessing his crimes. She should have felt satisfaction, should have felt vindicated. But all she felt was tired. I don't want to think about him anymore, she said. I don't want to give him any more of my energy. You don't have to. Dong-ho climbed into the hospital bed beside her, careful of the IV and monitors. He pulled her against his chest, one hand resting protectively on her belly. I'll carry the hate for both of us. They lay there in silence, feeling their baby move between them, strong and alive despite everything. I want to do something, Melody said eventually, with the money he stole. When we get it back, he corrected. I want to start a foundation for women like I was, homeless, pregnant, desperate. I want to give them what no one gave me, a safe place to land. Dong-ho was quiet for a moment, then kissed the top of her head. Tell me what you need. A building, somewhere in Manhattan, big enough for temporary housing, job training, childcare, medical care, everything in one place. Consider it done. Dong-ho, it'll cost millions. I don't care. He tilted her face up to his. If this is what you need to heal, if this is how you want to transform your pain into purpose, then I'll build you a palace. I'll buy every building in Manhattan if that's what it takes. She kissed him then, soft and grateful. I love you. I love you too. Both of you. His hand spread across her belly. And I promise you, our child will never know the kind of fear you faced. never know hunger or cold or abandonment. They'll grow up safe and loved and protected. By their father, the crime lord. A soft laugh. By their father, who would burn the world down to keep them safe. The monitor beeped steadily, their baby's heartbeat strong and sure. Outside the window, Manhattan glittered in the darkness, a city that belonged to Kong Dong-ho. But in this moment, in this quiet hospital room, he belonged only to her. 3 months later, Christmas Eve, snow fell soft and silent over Manhattan, transforming the city into something magical. Melody stood in front of the brick building in Chelsea, her newborn daughter sleeping peacefully against her chest in a designer baby carrier, and couldn't quite believe this was real. The building gleamed with fresh renovation, new windows, fresh paint, a sign above the entrance that read, "The Phoenix Center" in elegant gold letters. Lights strung along the facade twinkled like stars, and inside, through the glass doors, she could see people moving. Women, children, staff, life. "Are you ready?" Dong-ho asked beside her. Their son balanced on his hip. At 2 months old, little Dante was already his father's spitting image. Dark hair, serious eyes, a grip that could probably break fingers when he got older. "I don't know," Melody admitted. "This is huge. What if I mess it up?" "You won't." His certainty was absolute. "You survived homelessness. You lost a child and found the strength to love again. You built yourself from $17 into the woman standing before me. You can handle this." She looked up at him, this dangerous man who loved her with such fierce intensity it still took her breath away. "Thank you. For all of this. For believing in me. Always." He leaned down, kissed her softly. "Now go. They're waiting for you." The ribbon-cutting ceremony was small but meaningful. Local news crews, city council members, representatives from women's shelters across the city, and most importantly, the first 8 women who would call the Phoenix Center home. Melody stood at the podium, her daughter still sleeping against her heart, and looked out at the cameras. "4 years ago," she began, her voice steady. "I was homeless, pregnant, desperate. I'd lost everything to someone I trusted. And I felt like I was drowning in a world that didn't care whether I survived." She saw some of the women in the audience nodding, recognition in their eyes. "I lost my first baby because I couldn't afford food. Because I had nowhere to sleep. Because the systems in place to help people like me moved too slowly, asked too many questions, required too much documentation." Her voice strengthened. "I know what it's like to beg for help and be turned away. I know what it's like to choose between eating and keeping the lights on. I know what it's like to feel invisible." Dong-ho watched from the side, Dante gurgling happily in his arms, pride written across his face. "The Phoenix Center exists because I survived. Because I found people who helped me when I needed it most. Because I want to be for other women what no one was for me. A safety net that doesn't ask questions. A place that says you're worthy of help simply because you exist." She touched her daughter's tiny head, felt the soft warmth of her. "This building offers temporary housing, job training, childcare, medical care, legal assistance, mental health support. Everything in one place. No judgment, no qualifications, just help." The applause was warm, genuine. "I can't give back the time I lost, can't undo the trauma I survived, but I can transform that pain into purpose. I can make sure the next woman who finds herself with nowhere to go, nothing to eat, and a baby to protect, I can make sure she has somewhere to land." She picked up the oversized scissors, looked back at Dong-ho one more time. He nodded, smiled that rare soft smile reserved only for her. "The Phoenix Center is officially open." The ribbon fell away in 2 pieces, and the doors opened to reveal the beautiful space inside. Warm lighting, comfortable furniture, a children's play area already full of toys, a kitchen where a hot meal was waiting. Home. She'd built a home for women who had none. The news crews got their footage. The politicians gave their statements, but Melody barely noticed. She was too busy watching the first residents explore their new sanctuary, seeing the hope return to their eyes. One woman approached her, young and heavily pregnant, fear and gratitude warring on her face. "Thank you," she whispered. "I didn't know where else to go. My boyfriend, he took everything. My money, my car. I've been sleeping at the bus station for 2 weeks." Melody saw herself in this girl's eyes, saw the terror and shame and desperate hope. "You're safe now," she promised, taking the girl's hand. "We'll help you, whatever you need, however long it takes." The girl broke down crying, and Melody held her while she sobbed, this stranger who was somehow a sister in survival. Dong-ho watched from across the room, their son sleeping now against his chest, and felt something shift in his chest. He'd spent his entire life building power through force and fear and calculated violence, but watching Melody give, watching her transform her trauma into healing for others, he understood for the first time what real power looked like. It looked like his wife, holding a crying pregnant girl, promising safety she'd never received herself. It looked like hope. Later that night, after the ceremony ended and the residents were settled and the staff had gone home, Dong-ho and Melody stood alone in the penthouse nursery. Their twins slept peacefully in matching cribs, Dante with his father's serious expression even in sleep, and their daughter Maya with her mother's beautiful features. "I'm proud of you," Dong-ho said quietly, pulling Melody back against his chest, his arms wrapping around her waist. "What you did today, what you've built, it's extraordinary." "We built it," she corrected. "I couldn't have done any of this without you. You survived without me for years. You're stronger than you think." "Maybe." She turned in his arms, looked up at him. "But I'm better with you, happier, more whole." He kissed her forehead, soft and reverent. "I love you, more than I have words for. Show me." The command in her voice made heat flash through him. "Melody." "We have all night. The babies are asleep. The nurse is here if they wake up." Her fingers found his shirt buttons, that same want from 3 months ago returning. "You promised me once that you'd make me forget my own name. I'm ready to collect." Dong-ho's control, legendary and unshakable, cracked completely. He swept her up, carried her to their bedroom, kicked the door shut behind them. "You're sure?" he asked one more time, needing her consent, needing to know she wanted this as badly as he did. "I'm sure." She pulled him down to her, lips brushing his. "Love me, Dong-ho, the way only you can." Outside, snow continued to fall over Manhattan. The Phoenix Center stood warm and bright, a beacon for women who needed saving. The twins slept peacefully, safe and loved and protected. And in their bedroom, Dong-ho Kong showed his wife exactly how much she meant to him, with hands that could kill but chose instead to worship, with words whispered in Korean and English, promises of forever, with a tenderness that contradicted everything the world thought they knew about the underground king. He loved her until she forgot her name, forgot the pain of her past, forgot everything except the feeling of being cherished completely. And when they finally lay tangled together, breathing hard and satisfied, Melody traced the tattoos on his chest and smiled. "Merry Christmas," she whispered. "Merry Christmas, baby." He pulled her closer, one hand resting possessively on her hip. "Best gift I ever received." "What? Me? You?" "The twins. This life we've built." He kissed her temple. 4 years ago, you were surviving alone. Now you're thriving. Helping others thrive, that's everything. She snuggled against him, content and loved and exactly where she belonged. Outside, somewhere in the city, Roacher Dargan sat in a federal prison cell, his 15-year sentence just beginning, but Melody didn't think about him anymore, didn't give him space in her mind or her heart. She thought only of the future, of the women the Phoenix Center would help, of the twins sleeping down the hall, of the man whose heartbeat she could feel beneath her palm. She'd survived the fire, and from the ashes, she'd built something beautiful, a phoenix, rising. If Melody's journey from surviving to thriving touched your heart, would you do me a favor and hit that like button right now? And as we close out this year and step into a brand new one, I want to say a prayer for you. May 2026 bring you divine protection, unexpected blessings, and the kind of love that transforms your life the way Dong-ho transformed Melody's. May every struggle you've faced become the foundation for something beautiful. May you rise like a phoenix from whatever tried to break you. And may God's grace cover you and everyone you love. I'm curious, where in the world are you watching this story unfold? Drop your city and what time it is where you are in the comments. I love seeing our global family come together from every corner of the earth. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Every subscription helps me continue bringing you these powerful stories of love, redemption, and justice. And if this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear that survival is possible, that love after trauma is real, and that the best revenge is building something beautiful from the ashes. Happy New Year, beautiful souls. Let's make 2026 unforgettable together.